Where'd you go to school? I was like, Shenandoah University. They're like, where the hell is that? And I was like, exactly. I was like, it's like, yeah, it's a small D3 school. They're like, D3? And I'm like, yeah. Like, were you a free agent or did you get drafted? I was like, I got drafted. They're like, really? And they're almost like shocked that like someone from a school like where I'm from is in the same spot they're in, you know?
Underdog stories are happening all around us, not just in the movies or on TV. There are people out there beating the odds and overcoming adversity every single day. And on this podcast, we're bringing those stories to light. This is Tyler O'Shea, and you're listening to Hustle and Motivate. Welcome back to the show. If you've been listening for a while, you'll notice that recently we switched to a documentary-style format on the podcast, and we've gotten great feedback on that. But today, we're throwing it back to the classic, casual, conversational format that we all know and love. This week's guest was one of only 9 Division III players selected in the 2019 MLB Draft. Despite pitching 3 straight complete game shutouts and helping Shenandoah University win back-to-back conference championships, Robert Klinchock wasn't invited to any pre-draft workouts. But when the Detroit Tigers called his name in the 35th round, his dream suddenly became a reality. And it was a pleasure to have him on the podcast to discuss that incredible journey. In our conversation, he talks about the benefits of being a late bloomer, the crazy way he found out he got drafted, and a hilarious story about being caught in the middle of a ridiculous minor league baseball promotion. Here is Robert Klinchock. We could start with what kind of player you were growing up, because I know you're listed 6'4", 230. Have you always been a bigger dude, or were you more like a late bloomer? Or
I think it was going into my sophomore year of high school is when I kind of hit like my growth spurt, and like I went from being like 5'7" one summer to coming back into school at like 6'2". Like I like jumped up like
wow.
pretty quick. And then obviously like kind of struggled to put the weight and the muscle on, because like my body was still kind of growing. And I think I grew like a few more inches like over the years until I got my junior year of college, where I kind of like stayed at like 6'4". But like ever since then, like I've been like struggling to kind of put on weight and kind of become like a bigger, like all around kind of guy. But yeah, it was just like one summer I just like kind of like sprouted up, and then kind of like putting the weight on and putting the muscle on kind of came later on once I got into like later years in high school and like into college.
Yeah, and I know you were the number 1 starter at Shenandoah, but were you always like one of the top guys, like even in high school, or how was that?
I was kind of, because like growing up in high school, like I played first base and outfield, so I wasn't always a pitcher. So like I was really like the number like 2 or 3 going into high school. Behind my senior year, I was behind Austin Kitchen, who ended up going to Coastal to win. They won the national championship his freshman year. So I was actually behind him. So we were a pretty solid 1-2 punch in high school. But, you know, I was really never like, I was like pretty much like a late bloomer, like all around, like growing, like baseball skill wise, like growing up, like size, weight, all that kind of stuff. It was like not till like almost when I was like 21 when I finally like kind of got that click of like velocity. Like my junior year of college is when I kind of like first started to throw hard. So like basically everything like about me was like a late bloom kind of situation.
So like what was the college like recruiting process like for you? Were you looking at a bunch of different schools?
Yeah. So like kind of like how it worked for me was like, because sophomore year was when I first started to like really like focus on getting recruited. Like I stopped playing basketball, and like I stopped playing other sports and I just focused on baseball. Because I figured, hey, if I'm going to go play in college, I'm going to be playing college baseball. And then, of course, I wanted to play professionally. So sophomore year was when I cut out all my outside sports. You know, I stopped playing basketball. I played golf in the fall, but like that's just kind of like a thing just to do, kind of like to pass time. But yeah, I just focused on baseball, and that's when I kind of started to shooting out emails, playing for travel teams, just trying to get attention. And I started to get attention because like I was pretty young, and I was kind of throwing hard for my age. And then like kind of, I didn't really like kind of progress like throughout high school. I kind of like stayed the same. So like those looks from like Division I schools became like Division II schools, and then those became Division III schools by like my junior and senior year. So I had a few walk-on spots here and there from like small Division I schools, and like a few Division II schools were ready to offer me money. Then like I was talking to Coach Mays at Shenandoah, and like I was looking through the program. I was reading like through all the stats of the guys that came through there, and I was like, this is like ideal. You know, I get to play right away. I get to show up. I get to play. I had the option to play, to pitch and play in the field. So like I had that option open too, because I still wanted to kind of hit and play position. And I knew if I went to like a Division I school or a Division II school, they would only let me do one or the other. So that was like my first kind of like shift away from like the spotlight of being a Division I athlete and like playing at a big time school. Was just like, I need playing time. And I feel that's like the one thing that like most kids now like don't really understand is like, you want to go to a place to play. Like, it's nice to have like all that flashy gear from the school, but if you're sitting there for 2-3 years on the bench, like it's really not that fun. So like that was the main reason why I took Shenandoah over like bigger time schools, because I knew I would go in there and play right away. Plus they were a top team in the country. You know, they were top 25 for 10 years in a row in the regionals. Like, I think whenever I got there, it was like 6 out of 7 years. We had kids get signed, and on my freshman year, we had our first kid drafted. So it was like kind of like everything kind of fell into place once I got to Shenandoah.
Yeah, so did that kind of factor into your decision too, because you knew it was actually realistic if you're playing at a top 25 school in Division III, like that you had a chance of getting drafted still.
Yeah, because it was just like, I was like, if he can do it, I can do it. So like I started to like surround myself with him. You know, me and him always hung out together. We would work out together. And I was like, I kind of like modeled the way I went about things, the way that he went about things. And I kind of like, okay, this is what I have to be like to get drafted. Like, this is what I have to do on and off the field. This is kind of like how I have to like eat, how I have to work out, how I have to do this, this, and this. So like, I kind of like, I was able to kind of model my behavior, my way about things based off of what he did. And of course, you know, our coach knew hundreds and hundreds of scouts where you could, if you wanted a look, you can call somebody like, hey, I have somebody that wants to play freshly, come by and watch them throw. And so like, that's when, so obviously that happened. Like my junior year was my first like true like looks at playing pro ball, because I was behind a kid that also got drafted. So like I would throw behind him on Saturdays, and that's when they would kind of stick around and watch me throw. And then by senior year, it actually became a reality.
So did you like kind of put some pressure on yourself knowing that the scouts were staying to see you start game 2?
I mean, like, it's kind of hard not to, because like once you're like once you step on the mound, you look at the batter, the catcher, the umpire, and you see like 3 to 4 like guns behind you. It gets kind of nerve wracking. But I mean, my first kind of experience with obviously seeing pro guys behind me was like a little nerve wracking. It was like, oh shit, this is it, you know, like, this is the time to like kind of turn it up. So I would pitch kind of a little like out of character, you know, kind of got ahead of myself and all that kind of stuff. And then that's when like I would talk to the number 1, Colin Morris, he was played with the Nationals for a couple of years. I was like, dude, like, how do you do it? Like, how do you like go out every weekend, see 4 or 5 guns behind you, and like not shit your pants, you know?
Yeah.
And like he kind of talked to me about it, and that's when I kind of like settled in and kind of like pitched how I pitched and kind of like let everything else fall into place.
And was he the one that you were kind of learning from? Like, he's talked about the habits and stuff?
Oh no, that was actually his brother Phil, who went my freshman year. So we had Phil and Colin were brothers, and they both went to the Nationals for a few years. So my first kind of taste of like pro ball lifestyle was through Phil, and then obviously Colin, and now I'm experiencing it myself.
And what were some of the habits that like Phil showed you? The things that you had to change?
Just eating right, kind of managing your time on and off the field. You know, when you're on the field, it's like focusing on baseball, like kind of basically like get better every day without like wasting any time, basically. So like I would show up to the field, and like I would immediately like stretch. I do my throwing program with intent. Like everything I did, basically I had a purpose of doing. You know, I put a purpose behind everything I did on and off the field because of him.
So you seem like a really laid back guy, but you were just talking about like being nervous and stuff like that. How did you handle like the ups and downs of just being a college pitcher?
It's kind of like almost having like a system where you can like vent, like obviously like because like baseball is a pretty frustrating game.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, like finding like a way to kind of like vent out everything I felt after a start or anything was like what really kind of helped me kind of like flush out bad starts or like keep like good starts going, kind of string good starts back to back to back. So like having like a support system around you is definitely a big thing. Like having like parents, girlfriends, best friends, just like someone you can go to and kind of like vent out all your frustration about something. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing that happened with me. It was like I would call my mom and just yell for 30 minutes about something and be like, I'm good now. Just kind of like get everything off your chest and don't carry stuff over from start to start. Obviously, like carry good stuff from start to start, but like don't carry the bad from start to start. And obviously it helps you punch a few things too, like I did in the past, but it's a lot better just to yell instead of hit things.
Yeah. So I know you talked about your junior year when it started to feel real. When did you really start to like believe that it was like a legit possibility? And like, when did it start becoming like your reality that you were going to go to the next level?
Pretty much once I started to throw hard, like once I hit 90 for the first time, I was like, damn, I can actually do this now. And obviously, like throwing 90 is big, but you also have stuff like that comes like behind it. So that also started to fine tune my off speed stuff. I finally got a change up first time in forever. That was a big reason why I got drafted, because I was able to. I had a plus change up and plus breaking ball behind my fastball. And obviously, I wasn't a guy that would come in and throw 95 or anything. I would usually sit like 88, 91. So I had to have stuff to kind of like back it up. So that was also a big thing, kind of like fine tune my game as a whole once I kind of got the velo. Because the velo will kind of get you like in the door and get you looks, but like being able to pitch and get guys out will like keep you in that like door frame basically. So like once you kind of like stray away from like being like, it'd be nice to everyone to throw 100, but like you also have to get guys out at the end of the day. So being able to kind of like pitch with what I have with the velo, and then obviously with the plus off speed stuff, kind of was like my like sign that I could go somewhere with all this stuff.
And I think you told me, and I read about it too, that you threw. Is it right that you threw 3 straight complete game shutouts in college at one point?
Yeah. So it was the last start of the regular season. I threw my first complete game, and then I threw back-to-back complete game shutouts in our conference tournament.
Wow.
So I think I ended up with like a 22 scoreless inning streak or something like that, dating back to like my first complete game. So obviously that kind of helped get some attention from scouts. And that was actually when the Tigers first kind of saw me pitch, was in conference tournament. And then they follow along in regionals and super regionals. So.
And what's it feel like to be on like a hot streak like that?
It's awesome. I kind of felt like I could really do anything. Cause like, it was also like kind of having the guys behind you also make like great plays behind you just makes it feel like you're like invincible almost, when you go out there and like, it's almost it's basically like a wins in the bag, once like I was out there. So that was a great feeling to kind of have. Like going into a game, it gave you like a lot of confidence to like not pitch scared and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And what would you say is like your overall mindset with pitching? Like, because obviously you can't control the outcome of every pitch, but like, what's your overall mindset?
Overall mindset is probably just to like control what you can control. Obviously, like you can't really control bad calls behind the plate with the umpires, errors, all that kind of stuff. Like kind of like stay in the moment and just go like one pitch at a time. And
I played with a few guys, unfortunately, that used to like get pissed at their infielders if they made an error or something. Like, how do you handle it? You just kind of say it's out of my hands.
Yeah. So like if something happens, like and he's upset, I'm like, hey man, it's all right, keep your head up. And then I'd usually like in a few pitches, he would get like another ground ball, and then I'd joke around with him, obviously. So like it's just this matter of just like keeping everyone around you calm, and obviously you really can't, because like our coach is like big on like if you like yell at the infielders for making an error, don't throw a pitch that'll make the hitter hit him there, like hit it there. He was big on that. Like if you're yelling at your shortstop for making errors, don't let them hit it to your shortstop. Basically, that's the kind of guy he was. So basically, just like keeping everybody in the moment and not to like kind of obviously like you do get angry on the mound. Like that's just like everyone does. It just matters like keeping everything bottled up and like don't like express your emotions in a negative way.
Mm-hmm. And having won back-to-back conference championships, and you talked about your coach, the way he was, what would you say, like, as far as your team, the culture and everything, like what was different about those 2 years?
We just like, we almost knew that we were going to win. Cause it pretty much like all starts out with like our first game. My junior year, we ended up being Randolph Macon. So I kind of like put them in a bad spot and put us in a very like good spot. We kind of just ended up stringing everything together. We started to play great baseball at the right time. We were hitting well, fielding well, pitching the ball well. And, it was kind of like that run where like you kind of knew it was like bound to happen. It was just happened with us, and we kind of just ran with it and just didn't look back at all.
And now I just want to talk about the draft. And you told me the story like a couple weekends ago, but what were your expectations going into the draft? And can you talk a little bit about when you found out?
Yeah. So like I knew like going in the draft, like I wasn't going to be like a high round pick, obviously, being a guy from a small Division III school, like they don't usually go like any higher than like the last day of the draft. So like, I was following along, like watching to see if like people I knew got picked up. And then the third day of the draft came around, and like I didn't really hear much from scouts or from like guys like, hey, keep your foot on you, like I pick you around these rounds or anything like that. So I was just casually just following along on my phone while I was at work. Just like, oh, we're in like the 16th round, or we're in the 18th round or anything like that. So like I was like checking my phone to see if I got like any calls or anything. So like I didn't, and like I turned the draft around like the 25th round, I think it was. I was like, I'm probably not going this year. Like it's all right. I'll go like indie ball for a year or two and hope to get from there or something like that. So I was just working, and next thing you know, I got a call that like I was on like the Tigers draft board. I was like, oh, that's cool. At least the team's like thinking about me. And then about like 30 minutes later was when I got the phone call. But obviously, like I told you, I was at work, so I didn't have my phone on me at the time. So like I didn't know what happened until like my parents found out about it. So they were able to tell me, and then obviously I called the scout back and was like, hey, we took you in the 35th round. I was like, oh shit. It was kind of like a surreal moment where it happened, and like I didn't really know how to react. Like looking back on it, like if I knew what was happening, it happened, like I would have cried. But like since it like kind of happened like as a surprise, like I like didn't like react the way like I thought I would, obviously. But it was definitely a crazy experience to kind of like, it's almost like a up and down kind of thing where like you already like fill out questionnaires and all that stuff, and you've been talking to these scouts, and next thing you know, like you're like, it's the 30th round, like I haven't gotten a call yet. Because like most guys that I talked to like down in Florida once I got down there was like, yeah, I was doing this pre-draft workout, and like I was talking to scout every day and all that stuff. I was like, damn, I didn't get that, So like kind of like not having that contact from scouts was like kind of like a big question mark for me. I was like, damn, is this really not going to happen? And then it ended up happening without me knowing it. And then my mom and dad started crying. So that was a little weird, but it was kind of a kind of fun and like unique way to find out, because like through my parents, because like they've been through hell and back with me, with baseball. My mom driving to Florida with me, like for like a weekend trip, and like my dad driving to Michigan with me, like we went all across the country together. And for them to kind of finally get that information before I did was kind of like a way that I would also kind of want it to play out, because like they've been through so much. So it's like so many trips from like Virginia and back, Michigan and back, like New York and back, like everywhere and back for baseball, like all these camps to all these different kind of colleges, and just for them to kind of find out that like all that kind of hard work and driving and road trips kind of paid off for me is kind of the way I wanted it to play out.
It's amazing. So I think I looked it up. It was 9 Division III players drafted in 2019.
Yeah.
So obviously,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, the cards are kind of stacked against you going into it. Do you approach things any
Yeah.
different knowing that? Like, do you kind of pitch with a chip on your shoulder?
Yeah. Because like everyone's like, oh, I'm from North Carolina. I'm from this school. Like I was out of high school, and they're like, where'd you go to school? I was like Shenandoah University. They're like, where the hell is that? And I was like, exactly. I was like, it's like, yeah, it's a small D3 school. They're like, D3? And I'm like, yeah. Like, were you a free agent or did you get drafted? I was like, I got drafted. They're like, really? And like, they're almost like shocked that like someone from a school like where I'm from is in the same spot they're in, you know. So they're almost more shocked than I was, to be honest. But yeah, you know, it was just kind of taking that kind of fuel and fire and kind of putting it out on the mound to be like, yeah, I'm from a Division III school, but like I'm pitching just as well as a dude from wherever's pitching, you know. So it kind of like had that little like fire in the back of your pocket. I definitely used that to my advantage this year. Just like show everybody that like you don't have to go to like a big time school to get picked up.
And it kind of levels the playing field. Like once you're in the pros, you're in the pros. Yeah,
it's just they don't care where you're from, what school you went to, or anything like that. They just care if you get guys out.
And what was that transition like at first for you, coming from college?
Oh, it was hard because it was obviously, you know, because like the hitters obviously there's a few hitters in Division III that are like they're pretty damn good, but like for the most part they're not really like that great. So like finding a way to like to pitch with my stuff to get higher skill level guys out was kind of a struggle. Like in the first like couple innings, and once I kind of got my feet wet and kind of got like used to like the environment and like the play style of like everything, I kind of settled in and pitched pretty well for my abilities.
And you advanced past rookie ball in your first season, right?
Yeah, I got moved up to Single A up in Michigan, like the last month of the season, and made 3 starts up there. So it was kind of seeing that kind of all play out was awesome.
And I mean, what you got to wonder what the stats are on that. Like how many Division III guys got drafted and then moved up a level in their first season. Like that's got to be a very select group.
Out of those 9, I think it was just me and I think it might have been the other pitcher from Randolph-Macon, Nick Roth. I think me and him got moved up almost like at the same time to Single A. Yeah. So, but I don't know about the other 2 or the other guys, but yeah, I think only three people got called up from my draft class from Division III aspect, got moved up to past rookie ball. So it was being among like the select few, then the like select few was pretty awesome.
That's amazing. And like this is going to be obviously your first spring training. How are you kind of approaching your second season, your first full season?
Probably just like kind of pacing myself like from like a physical aspect, because obviously it's gonna be a long season with spring training and all that. But like right now, I'm just trying to get in the best shape as I can. Obviously, you know, come back stronger, and then obviously kind of show what I can do once I have like a full like off season of training and all that kind of stuff. So at first I was coming back to spring training obviously stronger than what I was when I left, and like obviously throwing harder and all that kind of stuff, and then kind of just taking like small steps up the year to kind of like keep myself at the same kind of shape I am once I get down there.
Mm-hmm. So I kind of just want to ask, like, for your advice, just coming from a guy who's, I guess, defied the odds and is achieving his dream. What advice do you have for like young guys out there, maybe other D3 ball players, guys out there chasing their dream, facing adversity? Like what advice do you have for them?
I mean, like, I'm going to sound like corny with this, but like, you just got to work hard. Like, I know that's like the basic thing, but like, if you really like want to do it, then like you actually put in the effort, you know, cause being from a Division III school, like it's not very easy to kind of get looks from pro teams. So like, you just got to put in like the extra effort on and off the field, and kind of separate yourself from your team, and then separate yourself from your conference and then your region, and kind of like basically just like separate yourself from like your peers. I know it kind of sounds bad, but like You
No.
kind of have to put in the extra work and kind of better yourself on and off the field. And, you know, hopefully that all falls in line. Cause like there's guys that like didn't get picked up that should have, you know, and obviously like, you know, being someone that kind of like won those odds is, you know, everyone says like, oh, like what'd you do? Like, what'd you do? I was like, I just surrounded myself with guys that had the same goals as me. Obviously that's a big thing. So like surround yourself with players that want to play at the next level, and, you know, and like don't just want to play college ball and go get like a 9-to-5 job. You know, it's fine. Be around people that want to get better and want to play at the next level. And obviously, you know, that kind of work ethic will kind of, and obviously from there you can push each other, you know, on and off the field to kind of get better as far as like velo wise or working out like in team workouts. Like, oh dude, but you can't squat as much as me. Like kind of having those like friendly competitions within like your staff or your team will obviously kind of set you apart and put you in the right spot.
And going off of that, what would you say is like the best piece of advice or the best like habit, big or small, that helped you on this journey?
Probably staying healthy. That was a big thing. Not like kind of showing signs of like ailments or anything like that. So like the biggest thing was just to like stay healthy. So teams that pick you don't like kind of like, well, he could get hurt or anything like that. So like they know like what they see is what they're going to get once they pick you. Mm-hmm. So if they see like a strong athletic pitcher, they know they're going to get a strong athletic pitcher that's not going to, you know, throw a couple innings and like be like, oh, my arm hurts, you know?
Yeah.
So definitely like being able to stay healthy and staying like keeping your body, like your mind and body in shape will definitely also help you out a lot.
Awesome. Well, I'm all out of questions, man. Is there anything that you were hoping that I would ask or that you wanted to talk about?
I can share a pretty funny story from Single A if you want to throw that in there.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So I was throwing it was the last home game of the season up in Michigan. I think we were facing like the Tin Caps. I think it's the Twins Single A farm team. And I guess like it's like I don't know if it's a thing in like all minor league parks or like just our league, but like we pick a player out of the opposing team's lineup and we name him like the strikeout player of the game. So like if that batter strikes out, like a row gets like whatever, like a gift card to like Chipotle or something.
Yeah.
But our thing was like I think it was either section or a row gets a can of beans for like a year. So to get like a year's worth of Bush's baked beans if a player strikes out. So I think it was like the Tin Caps like 8-hole hitter or like someone like down the order that was like hitting like 120. And it was like, I think it was like the second or third inning he was up and I was facing him and I got him down 0-2. I was like, hell yes. You know, I got like bottom of the guy we're down 0-2. So like I got set and like he stepped off and like did something stupid. So I stepped off and then the guy over like the loudspeakers goes beans, 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 beans. I'm like, that's weird. Jesus. And then all of a sudden all 10,000 fans are just going beans, beans, beans. So then I got like 10,000 people. I got 10,000 fans chanting beans at me, and like I look and like it was like a sold out stadium because it was like 10-cent hot dogs too. So there's like all these fans like all the way around on the park. So like I like look around like damn, everyone's chanting beans at me. And then like in the meantime they threw up like a CGI like 2 cans of beans like dancing on a big screen. And I'm like, these people love their damn beans, you know? So then like I ended up throwing like a slide in the dirt. He hit like a dribbler back to me, and I was like, "Damn it!" And after the inning, like the fans like on top of like I was like, "Klinchock, I wanted some damn beans. What the hell, man?" I was like, "I'm sorry." So they're like, I had literally in my second start, I had 10,000 people chanting beans at me because they all wanted a year's worth of Bush's baked beans. But
that's hilarious.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my God.
It was like quite the experience. Like that was like the most nervous I've ever been. Like,
I bet.
Because like on top of it, I was playing professionally, and I seen like I had 10,000 people wanting beans from me. And I was like, oh shit, like I can't mess this up, you know. But Yeah, it was quite the experience because after that inning, everyone's like, "Were you nervous when they were chanting beans?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, I was nervous. Are you kidding me?" Like 10,000 people want one of beans from me, bro. I get nervous off of that. But yeah, that's one story I got. That was pretty funny. But I usually tell everybody once they ask like what it's like playing pro ball. I was like, well, if you play for the Tigers, you want fans want beans from you. So.
So did you ever see Eastbound and Down? The Kenny Powers?
I've seen a few episodes, but I haven't like watched it through.
It sounds like a scene from that, dude. That's what I was picturing.
Yeah,
those fans.
Because like
that's so
we played,
funny.
because we played the Dodgers single A team, and they had the same. Or no, it was the Lansing Lugnut. It was the Blue Jays. They had like the same like kind of like deal. Like if someone struck out, like a row of fans got something. And they're like doing like the same thing. Like once the kid got up, they're like heckling him to strike out. And I'm like, damn, I feel bad for you, you know. But I mean, like it was all fun, you know. Having that kind of like environment was fantastic. You know, the Whitecaps do a great job at pulling in fans and promoting their team. So it was a lot of fun playing for them under that environment.
That's awesome. And one thing I forgot before we wrap it up, do you want people to go follow you anywhere, or is there anywhere they could support you?
Oh yeah, you know, you can follow I post mainly on my Instagram. I don't really do too much Twitter, but it's just Bobby_Joe_K. You know, I pop that up. You can follow, shoot me a follow or anything like that. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, good luck, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Huge thanks to Robert Klinchock for coming on the show. Definitely give him a follow on Instagram at Bobby_Joe_K. Hopefully baseball is back sooner than later so we can get back out there on the mound. And whether it's your first time or you've been on this ride with us for a while, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. And always remember, Hustle and Motivate is presented by JokerMag.com, the home of the underdog.